Welcome to the Filmmaker Mixer Podcast, the podcast by filmmakers for filmmakers.
This episode is sponsored by Gemini Crown Tech, software for all of your production needs. Stay tuned for more information later in the show. Hello, everybody. This is the Filmmaker Mixer Podcast, and today we have a full house. We are talking mind-bending thrillers with the team behind Cognitive, a film that starts at the end, ends at the beginning, and somewhere in the middle you realize you've been holding your breath for about 30 minutes. We have Rachel Fleischer, the amazing lead actress in the film, the legendary Charles Fleischer, and the director behind this madness, Evan Richards. So, folks, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff.
I loved your movie. I watched it today, and it was very thrilling. Very Rubik's Cube-ish, if that's a description. But Evan, let's start with you. What was the process behind creating this particular film? What's your background? How did you get into film, and why this story?
Well, my background is as an actor. So I kind of grew up in the business. My mom, who is in the film, she plays Bonnie, the neighbor. The glamorous actress. She's had a career, and she also was one of the producers on the film. So I got into the business through acting. And during that whole time, I was always writing scripts and making my own little plays with friends and videos and such. Finally, I started doing films. I'm a resident both here in London, and I did projects in London. I did a film called In a Day, which IFC Films put out. I did a bunch of shorts, one of which was shortlisted for a BAFTA. I met Rachel at a screening of her short film.
Oh, interesting.
And, yeah, which is great. We stayed friends, and I wrote the script, and I thought she would be great to star in this film, literally. She came on board. We kind of workshopped it. We had other people come and go. And the idea was initially to do sort of a piecemeal film, kind of, I mean, not like Boyhood in terms of time frame, but, we were going to do, I told everyone, we'll do a little bit at a time when we get locations and so on and so forth. And they were all on board for that. Then a friend of mine who's a filmmaker and an actor who takes pity on me because he knows I was trying to raise money for years. He's like, if I give you a little bit of this, his name is Christopher Blackwell, and can you make the film? And I was just like, yes. I mean, I couldn't even hear how much he was offering. It was not a ton, but it was very generous of him. And I thought, let's do this.
Well, Rachel, I want to jump over to you. So the short film you did you direct that or?
I did. I wrote it, directed it, and acted in it, and had also just a small ensemble cast. It's called There With Me, and it's about a young woman who's trying to get over a breakup and is greeted by all of her dead relatives on Yom Kippur. Sort of like a Jewish version of A Christmas Carol.
That sounds awesome, actually.
Visits her past and kind of realizes her relatives, her deceased relatives, have always been with her through hard times and good times, and that gives her the strength to move forward in her own life.
Well, I'm curious about something as a filmmaker. How does directing inform you as an actress?
That's a good question. I think initially I always wanted to direct, and then I think found acting kind of after. I think the acting desire was repressed because my dad is an actor and I was trying to individuate. So I was like, I'm not in front of the camera, I'm behind the camera. And then in my early 20s, I realized that there was this repressed desire to be acting. So I finally gave into it. But I think, I don't know, I almost feel more like my acting background has given me information as a director more so than the other way around. You asked me how my directing
how does it inform you as an actor?
Affects me as an actor.
Yeah, does it change the way you make choices or how you prepare for a role?
Well, I think no, I think knowing how to direct helps me maybe understand more as an actor, but I feel like the process was more or less the same in terms of collaboration and in terms of asking a lot of questions. Like the woman I had who taught me acting really enforce the idea of just asking so many questions, just constantly asking questions and getting answers. And so I think for both directing and for acting, particularly in this movie, the constant curiosity about a character and the choices they make probably inform that. Um, yeah, I'll probably think of a much more satisfying answer at like 3 in the morning.
Well,
But
you call me when
but
it's ready.
And I
I
have a
was, I
question.
am very satisfied.
No, that's good. That's really good. I
Can I
want to.
just sorry, interject really, really quick. It's a fun bit of trivia. So it's the first time that Charles, genius actor, brilliant comedian, and genius actress Rachel Fleischer have ever done a film together. And how that came about quickly is that it was supposed to be a scene where he was on the phone, and I said, "Am I crazy? Like I'm not going to have the amazing Charles on screen." So we turned it into an on-screen for both of them scene.
Nice. It's a great scene, actually. And I want to pivot over to you, Charles. I'm curious about something. Obviously, you've had an amazing career, and you've done stand-up comedy, you've done, voiceover work, you've done dark thrillers. I'm curious for you, does preparing for, say, a Roger Rabbit type role, versus preparing for a dark thriller, or in this case, a psychological drama, do you prepare differently for each of those? And if so, how?
I would say preparation is generically the same. You have the material and you learn it and you go in and do it. The tone of it is doesn't really matter. It's, you have to know who your character is and what the character's intentions are at every moment, and you just do it. It really doesn't matter. And I would even that applies also to whether it's on camera or just the voice, like with Roger Rabbit. It's just acting. Hey, I got some words here. I'm gonna internalize them, memorize them, and then I'm gonna do them as though I'm experiencing for the first time. But it was extremely rewarding to do it under the direction of Evan and with my daughter. I mean, that was a real thrill. We're like working together.
Well,
And
Rachel, I
then
want to.
also,
Oh,
sorry,
no, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
it was the first time actually my mom was on screen in something that I directed her in. So,
Nice.
so it's kind of an interesting balance of
Well,
family members.
it's the way indie film works, you get to make movies with your family and friends, and sometimes you come out with a good one, like you guys did with this project. So, Rachel, I'm curious with you. This is obviously a big role. I mean, you have to carry the film. So, what was your preparation like?
the way that the movie came together in a process over time, we rehearsed and kind of workshopped the scenes for a really long time. It felt like I was, back with like in the John Cassavetes days where it was just like very, I don't know, it was, I don't want to say slow, but it was just this really process oriented way of working that you don't typically get, especially on big budget, movies. And so this was part of the joy of being on an independent film where you really have the time to kind of create these characters. And so I think in terms of preparation, by the time I got to set, I knew, the lines were kind of like the the surface and all the subtext of who she was, and everything had been there for so long, because we had been working on it for so long. So I just kind of would do, each night before we shot, I just made sure I knew the lines for the next day. But in terms of knowing who she was, I felt like, I had the luxury, which you usually don't have, of time to really kind of get to know who this person was. And I'm of the belief that we bring, our best work is when we bring as much of ourselves to the role, even if the character is wildly different. So I tried to, be as authentic as I could, even though I'm not her. I was just, trying to be present and trust that all the preparation I had done, and having Evan as not only a director and a writer, but really a partner in creating this character, uh, kind of the rest made it intuitive and easy, really.
And we actually have a crazy story about Adam, who plays the boyfriend. It was actually, we were close to shooting and we had maybe 2 weeks left before we had to shoot, and we had to find a boyfriend at that point. And I was driving down the street, and literally like a spotlight, I see this guy getting into a car down the street, and I hit the gas, and I'm like, I think I found the guy. I mean, it's literally how, like, these crazy stories. And Charles was kind of the same thing. I saw him on the street. No, I'm joking.
I remember my audition. He had me wear a cowboy suit, and I had an astronaut helmet on, and I just done a Desinex commercial. My feet was all kind of clammy and claky, and I was thrilled.
Well, Charles,
Yeah.
I'm curious about something. We have a lot of young listeners who want to be actors, want to do comedy. I'm curious for you, when did you know you had to be an actor and a storyteller? Did that happen at an early age for you, and how did it happen?
I did my first stand-up when I was 9 years old at
No
Camp
kidding.
Kiwanee in
Wow.
McLean, Pennsylvania.
Wow. And you still have that material?
Well, I don't do that material anymore, but I recall some of the things I said.
So what made you
Uh,
want to do comedy at such a young age?
it's just, what made Picasso want to paint, what made Beethoven want to compose. You're intrinsically gifted with some benevolence, and if you're lucky enough to know it, you manifest it. And, I always knew it. And then when I saw people like Jonathan Winters and Groucho Marx, I realized that that's kind of what I want to do. I've always been attracted to science and art and all the creative endeavors. Anything that has touched my soul, I've had a desire to reciprocate and do that in my own fashion.
And Rachel, what about you? I know you've written, you've directed, you're acting because you grew up in a creative family. Did that start young for you, or were you more rebellious and wanted to do other things as a little kid? How does that start?
No, I just wanted to be a lawyer just to piss my parents off. No, I always, that would have pissed them off. No, I always wanted to direct and act and write and be in the arts. And I think it's a combination of nature and nurture. I think that is who I am. And I don't know what else I could possibly, do that would bring me the level of joy that it does. But I am extremely lucky and grateful to have grown up not only in a city that fostered that kind of creativity, being around all of those types of people, growing up with them, but then in my own home, having a dad who is, a genius Renaissance man who's always performing. And, both of my parents really had such a deep appreciation for the arts. And there were always people coming to our house who were, incredible actors and musicians. And there was always that kind of creative buzz and light around my house. So, and then I think what sort of cemented it was, I guess when I was 8, we moved to London when my dad did Roger Rabbit. And I was going to school, but I would go to the set a lot. And I have very vivid memories of being there and seeing Steven Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis on this huge set and being like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. So
And as
it's just
a
all the things together.
and what kind of stories do you like to tell? What kind of stories move you?
Great question. I tend to be, I guess, as an actor and a writer director, I tend to be very attracted to character-driven personal stories where I seem to always gravitate towards people who are going through some kind of an emotional transformation, whether it's a breakup or some kind of a loss, and how they get through it, I think is what's attractive to me. But focusing on characters who are emotionally complicated is exciting for me. And then I love comedy infused with magical realism. Like
Oh,
those kind of
interesting.
genres synthesized are are my
It kind
favorites
of
in a sense.
describes what dinners were like at our house.
That's
Comedy and magical
true.
realism. Exploding broccoli, Lauren cauliflower.
Are you two going to work together again on something?
Yes, we're planning a 3D stereoptic. It's kind of a buffet diner type of thing. Well, we don't have anything that's financed at this time, but oh yeah, we
But
do.
I will.
Yes, we have projects in line, and we're continuously compiling data because we have a similar love for things that are mythic and literary, and that reach deep into the soul, and that combine things that are ancient and link them to things that are futuristic.
That sounds
Yeah.
fascinating. And
I will just add to that very abstract, ph- phenomenal description. It's a two-part answer. One, yes, I hope there are multiple projects, both fictional and nonfiction, but that we work on together. But I am working on a documentary about my dad.
oh, nice.
It's in early stages. It's right now there's just a sizzle reel and we're trying to kind of get it up on its feet. But that is
Focusing mainly on when I worked as a coal miner in West Virginia. And I started the first Hebrew Academy in West Virginia. I had a lot of the miners going, "Oh, can you believe this deposit? What are you kidding? This is more than coal. This is rich in all kinds of nutrient minerals. I smell minerals. That's not a canary in a coal mine. It's Eva wearing a yellow gown."
Just so the audience knows, we had a technical hiccup and Evan vanished from the podcast. So we are back. We're going to pick up a couple of things because we want to talk about this wonderful film, Cognitive. Oftentimes in a film, you'll lose a location, you lose an actor, somebody gets sick, and then you have to think on your feet very quickly and come up with a solution. And oftentimes that solution ends up being better than what you originally planned. Were there any moments like that in the film?
Yes and no. It's actually kind of behind the scenes. So we got a lot of locations that we maybe didn't expect, and we Rachel has a friend who came on as the costume designer, and she was awesome. And also, I don't know if you noticed the score at all, but Sterling Maffey is really fantastic. We worked on a couple of shorts before, and we were going for a very sort of I guess Hitchcockian feel to it.
Had that
And
kind of Saul Bass sort of title sequence at the beginning, and
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's definitely inspired by Saul.
What's the festival run been like? How's it been received?
We had a great time, actually. We played a lot of really good established film festivals. Another Hole in the Head, Sin City Horror Film Festival. We played the Portland Festival of Cinema Animation and Technology.
It's a great
And they have a
festival.
great venue. Yeah, where we showed it on an IMAX screen, which
Oh yeah,
was
they've got
like
that big.
mind-blowing.
Yeah, they got that big.
Yeah, they showed at the OMSI.
Yeah, yeah.
We also had the Houston International Film Festival, which is I think one of the longest running festivals in America, and we won awards and or were nominated. So we won multiple awards in every category now, except craft services. So
There should be an award for
we're
that.
waiting for that one, but
There is, it's called
there
Fat
should.
Actor
I'm not
Award.
joking.
Well, Charles, what was it like working with your daughter?
It it's like working with any great actress, except for the fact that I saw her develop from an early time. We used to do bits together. She had a bunch of different characters that she did, and we would do shtick all the time. I mean, so it was just the development of a father-daughter relationship that, and we had worked actually, Rachel, on some of her early films that she directed. Um, I had worked with her then, but that was as a director, not as an actress.
It's true. I forgot you were in some of my student films at USC.
And
Well, that's what they were,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, they were great. And my other daughter, Jessica, was in those, as well as Simon, who went on to be a star of The Big Bang Theory.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rachel cast him early. She picked him out. She started his career. He had nothing. Nothing.
I don't know about nothing, but
Played a keyboard, but that Big Bang thing came right out of your picture, Richie.
When you're working with a family member, someone you're so close to, are your expectations higher? Are you, I mean, d does it affect how you approach the work?
I mean, no in the sense that you're just doing your job as an actor, but yes, in the sense that it's kind of like a way to bond with somebody, like you grow closer when you take a trip with someone, you go to Paris and you're like, oh, this is a new context for our relationship, and there's like a deepening of a bond. So I would say that just in the sense, it was very natural and organic to work with him. And like you said, we used to do shtick together when I was a little kid. So it wasn't new, but it was definitely really rewarding. And it did just feel like a deep
You
of
can see on-screen chemistry between, in great movies. You can tell that the two leads had great chemistry, and can certainly apply that to father-daughter relationship.
Well, Charles, I want to stay with you for a second. You've had such a huge career. Are there any roles that you haven't gotten to do that you would love to do? Not a specific character, but a type of character that you've always wanted to do that you haven't had the chance yet?
Oh, but why? What do you got? I mean, don't tease me, dude.
That's a dangerous
Don't
question
tease
for
me.
an actor.
Sure, anything. I'd love to do a mad scientist movie. Like to play an animal in a movie. I'd like to play a microscopic entity that can't be seen but can only be
Charles, you're
smelled.
hired.
No, sorry.
I'm not high,
I got I have
but
I'm gonna we're gonna work together again for sure with some of those.
no, once again, don't tease me, bro.
Well, Evan, same
Don't
question.
tease me. You said you better play it.
A similar
Def-
question to you, Evan. What type of film do you want to do next? Do you want to get out of the thriller genre? You want to stay in that genre? What do you want to do next?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's weird because the people that I love play around in different genres, actually, categories, sci-fi and horror, but they have a signature style. Not that I'm so presumptuous to say that I have one. So I don't know. I mean, I have scripts ready to go, and they're comedies and some other sort of scripts and stories within that genre, the horror thriller genre.
And Rachel, you had mentioned earlier that you were working on a documentary with your dad. Tell us a little bit about that. And it's in the works?
Well,
Yeah. Is it?
well,
Yeah, tell us where we're at on that.
Well, at this point, the first movie that I directed actually was a documentary. It's called Without a Home. It's about homelessness, wildly different than the kind of stuff I'm doing at the moment. But yeah, the documentary on my dad, so far we've just shot a sizzle reel, and of course there is an incredible library of archive, both personal family archive and then archive that exists because of my dad and the amazing career he's had. But it's a celebration of who my dad is, but from the way I initially envisioned it was a daughter's love letter to her father, sort of just like um, I grew up always having such admiration and awe for my dad and the eccentric, unique person that he was and is, and both the challenges and privileges that comes with, especially when you're, growing up as a young girl in LA. And it just feels like this very unique perspective and experience that so it's kind of on the one hand, it's a very straightforward celebration of an amazing career, which I, think there is still a big arc to come. But it's also just a really personal sort of approach and perspective of a daughter and
I
her
think
father.
also there are aspects of my life and career that aren't as well known. I have a science paper that's on the Cornell University website. I have patented in I'm a visual artist. So there's a lot of areas that aren't directly in show business, but are intrinsic to who I am. And under Rachel's direction, we plan to incorporate all that to weave a web of complexity and enormity that shows the vastness of not only my existence, but my relationship with my daughter and family to allow the world to say, damn, these people are rocking.
And that's how you sell yourself.
That's the log line, by the way.
That's, look,
Just
I
that.
just saw the brushes. It's fantastic. The power store, Stacy comes in and goes, I should have casted Miss Lapuccio.
Well, on that note, Evan, for people who want to follow your career, follow your current film, your short film, and what you're up to, how can they track you down? Are you on social media? How do they keep up with what you're doing next?
Yeah, I have everything. It's usually under Evan Richards, me, M-E at the end. We also have a Cognitive Movie on Instagram, also a Facebook page. We're putting together a website, and we have a lot of cool behind the scenes pictures and videos, and the film is going to be coming out actually theatrically on September 26th in Los Angeles, and we're
Nice.
waiting to see if we're going to book in other cities, and then we're going to have an October 3rd release on the major digital platforms, and you can actually, I think, pre-order it now on Apple TV.
Awesome.
And so yeah, so you get the experience in the movie theater, and you can get the experience at home at your own home movie theater 5.1 probably if you have those speakers set up.
And Rachel, what about you? If people want to follow your career, tell us again where they can find you.
Sure. I'm on Facebook, although I hardly ever go on it, but it's Instagram. My name is Rachel Fleischer, just Instagram. And I have a website, rachelfleischerfilms.com as well.
And Charles, you got a couple shows coming up, you mentioned. Is that correct?
Films?
A couple of stand-up shows coming up? Or?
Oh yeah, I'm this Friday night I'll be at the Ice House in Pasadena.
Nice.
Show. And I mentioned another version of this, but I do have my my book, which doesn't work very well in the blur mode. Blur mode, I'm bad.
Your
gone
book,
out of my mind.
your book looks like it's in witness protection or something.
It is. It's very, very secretive. Called Out of My Mind: 10 Stories About Love, which is available on Amazon. You can see it's a real nice font, and they're really kind of twisty, little sci-fi, a little Haruki Murakami, if you're aware of that writer's propensity. And it delves into a lot of the things that Rich and I were talking about, things that are mythic and ancestors and the importance of life on Earth, and things that are visible yet you can't touch, and things that you can touch that are invisible. But just it's the dichotomies, the unification of things that don't seem to be unifiable.
Well, guys, I'm glad we were able to reconnect after our little technical hiccup.
Thank
So,
you so
Evan,
much.
thanks for reaching out. And Rachel and Charles and Evan,
Awesome.
best of luck on everything, and let's circle back and chat again.
Sure.
All right, you guys, take
Such
care.
a pleasure speaking.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Sure. Bye-bye.
This episode is sponsored by Gemini Crown Tech, owned and operated by Stephanie Moore and Stephanie Harrison. We at Gemini Crown Tech have covered all your production management needs with our proprietary software. Please visit our website at www.geminicrowntech.com and use the code FMP for Filmmaker Mixer Podcast listeners, so we know how you heard about us.
Thank you for listening to the Filmmaker Mixer Podcast, a podcast created and hosted by filmmakers Jeff Stolen and Andrew Lamping, and produced by Melody Lopez.
Our theme song was composed by Stephen D. Bennett.
Make sure to follow or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on, and stay tuned for future episodes.